What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Submission Fishing Live. Another Thursday, another couple days closer to the fishing weekend. Hope everybody's doing great out there. We got a good show for you guys tonight. We're going to do something special. It's actually a brainchild of Aaron. Aaron Kruger came to me and he was like, said he wanted to do a little like a roundtable conversation about spotties and stuff. So I thought it was a good idea. We're going to try that out. It's the first one we've done. Usually I have guests, but we have one person. So we got three awesome spotty fishermen here. Some of these guys are done really well in tournaments, tournament fishermen, and just really good anglers. They've been around for a long time. So it's really your opportunity to pick their brain. So how it's going to work is I'm just going to go around and I've got questions queued up for them, and you guys can ask questions as well. We'll just kind of go roundtable style. So we'll let each one of them talk, and I think it'll be good. We'll hear from each one individually, and when I don't want to give too much of their stories away, so we'll let them introduce themselves when we're ready to come on, and I think it'll be a good show. So let a few more people funnel in here and just say what's up to you guys. Jesse Oos, what's going on, man? Welcome to the show. Number one, Michael Soloranzo. Oos, welcome to the show. TV Metal Art. Todd, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Those spotty belts are looking good, man. It's a lot of work. I don't know how you do it with one guy. I mean, you're all whether it's the mirrors or dude, just your metal art or the belts. You're the hardest working man in fishing, that's for sure. Cabin Boy, what's going on? Welcome to the show. Glad you could join us. Colt C, welcome, welcome. Doug Rubin, El Sueño Us, welcome. Down in SD, good to see you again. Jeremy A and Christina G, welcome to the show. Glad you guys can join us. Spinning Rod Rebel, Marvin, glad to see you back, man. Back in the game. Getting ready to fish. Pohukai, Us, welcome back. Roger Stern, DFA in the house, taking over. That's right, man. Got to support all the clubs, dude. We got them all here today. Actually, that's not true. That's a lie. We got like maybe two or three. Iron Fish, Ooze, welcome to the show. Brian likes to fish, waiting in the wings. Welcome. Coming to you from Dana Landing. What's going on, dude? Dana Landing. How's everybody doing out there? Buy some jigs, slow death jigs. Go get them there. Aisle 3. Hope they're on aisle 3. If not, just ask Roger. He'll point you in the right direction. Michael Tran, Oos, what's going on? Welcome. Captain Dan, Atlanta this time. Man, crazy. You're all over the place. You don't get any rest. Yes, you were home last week. Leonard, Oos, what's going on? Fishing reps. Kevin in the house. Welcome, Kevin. Ice, what's going on, man? Welcome to the show. Dinks, welcome. If you guys are new to the show, please subscribe, like the show to help get some exposure out there. Everybody typing Oos usually just means that they like the show. Just go over some house cleaning real quick. News-wise, really nothing newsworthy except tuna coming in. So I've still got a lot of work to do. I'm going tuna fishing tomorrow, so I'm leaving tomorrow morning, going on a 2-day trip. And yeah, it should be good. But even after the show, I still got a lot of prep work to do. I've been working on it all day, but dude, filling so many orders, it's been crazy. We'll get to it. I mean, that's the biggest news, just the tuna popping up, yellowtail popping up. It's starting to change in that season. So I know a lot of you guys love that spotty fishing, right? So I know like Eric, some of you guys like to bitch when I'm not talking about spotties. So I know the show gets going. Once spring and summer comes around, I like talking offshore. I do a lot of tuna talk, patty fishing, so calicos. So just for you guys, we're going big for the spotties this time because it may be a little while before we talk about them if it goes off. Doug Rubin going on the legend. The legend. I think last time I checked, they still had some spots ready or available. If you guys, I know it's short notice, but if you guys want to go fish, man, check it out. Hop on with us. In stock. Ooh, Sammy Prom, what's going on? Welcome to the show. Yeah, and news-wise, I don't even really look because I know we're gonna have a pretty long show today, and yeah, we'll get right into it. So, before we get started, I just talk about spotties a little bit. It's spotties are something that are real special to um, us here in San Diego. They're a special fish. They're very SoCal specific, and that's because they really don't exist other places. In Mexico, they do, of course, in Southern California, but there's very few places in the United States where you can actually go and fish these things. They only exist in the bays, and they're pretty special fish to us, and I know to these guys too, and a lot of you guys watching, and we love catching them. and there's so many different techniques, but it's such a cool little fish and something unique that only we have here. So you don't take it for granted. It's a lot of fishes you see in other places that they're kind of, you find them in different zones in different states, you know, Texas, Florida, and they've all got their fish, but they all kind of intermingle around states. But I mean, the spotty, it's pretty unique to us, and not even all of California. I mean, you start going central and north, you can't even find them. So it's a real special fish, and all you SoCal guys are really gonna love it. So if you got any questions, just hit us up in the chat. And Steven Mendoza, Oos, welcome to the show. How much, Doug? I think it wasn't too bad, like $600 for 2 days. I think it was pretty damn good, to be honest with you. Staple of inshore fishing, yeah, man. Love the spotties. Yeah, check it out. But yeah, without further ado, we'll bring these guys on and we'll say what's going on, guys.
What's up, everybody?
So we'll go around the room, and we're gonna have the spotty roundtable. I got some good questions set up for you guys, and excited to get your perspectives. But I'll go around, and I just want you guys to quickly introduce yourselves, and we'll go from there. So, Brian, take it away. Tell us who you are and what you do, and why you're here.
I'm Brian. Most of you guys know me as Brian Likes to Fish on Instagram and on our club Discord in NFC. I also, if you guys watch Fishy Hour, I'm the co-host on Wednesday nights with Roman Castro. Kind of where I met you, Muto. So
yeah,
I met Muto probably the beginning of COVID, I think, when we were all like, Roman made a show called Fishy Hour. We all got on there, and so much has spawned since then, right? I mean, it's amazing the amount of people that I've met through that. If you follow Instagram, like I said, I'm Brian Likes to Fish. I have been fishing every spotty bowl since they came out. They were in 3rd season right here, and I think probably what I'm known for is winning the 1st and 2nd spotty bowl, 3-time champion of that. And I'm a long-time spotty fisherman. I've been fishing spotties. Geez, I started really fishing spotties when my son was old enough to take out and fish spotties. And he's 19 now, so he started fishing about 2. So I've been fishing spotties pretty much regularly weekends, probably for 15 to 16 years, somewhere around there.
That's no joke.
Mainly sticking down. I live down in San Diego, so I mainly stick down here to these bays. But I have been venturing up to Nick's territory. I'm trying to dabble in. I'm dabbling in your bays, Nick. I've been fishing Newport and Los Alamitos because Spotty Bowl has moved north, and Nick, I'm fishing Long Beach this weekend. So I'll be up there on Saturday. If you're out there, give me a wave.
Awesome. Brian Likes to Fish, 2-time spotty champion. Awesome. Next we have SoCal Fishing Squad. Nick, what do you got for us? Give us the intro.
Hey, Nick here from SoCal Fishing Squad. All in all, I'm 44 now. I've been fishing spotty since I was about 16 years old. Maybe a little before that, probably 14.
Wow.
Started taking it serious probably around 17 or 18. And that's right around the time where there was a time where I started the whole fishing scene and largemouth bass fishing. So I took that technique and applied it to the saltwater. But got voted on the parameter circuit at 16 by Shimano and G. Loomis. But yeah, now I just when fishing became political, the whole term "fishing saved my life" has a real deep meaning to me. So when fishing got political, I just walked away from all that. You took the fun out of it for me. So yeah, I'm from Long Beach, California, as Brian said, but I fish everywhere. As a kid, I worked on sport fishing boats down in San Diego, and back then, I was down there hitting spotties for 3 months out of the year. So
that's awesome. And also, you got some spotty creds, right? You're the 2-time Fishing Alliance champion, right? You won 2 years in a row. I think the only 2 times they've had it.
Yeah, nice. When I fished the first one, it's when I kind of started getting serious about custom painting, warbait swim jigs. And so for the specific tournament, I created a jig called the Joker, and I took that tournament on the Joker on the jig that I painted. And then this second time around, I wasn't going to fish it at all. and Luke Artemis Customs. He said, "You got to defend your title, man." So I said, "All right, I'll fish it." And aside from fishing it, I was also a sponsor of that. I put a bunch of custom painted stuff together, and so I told Dean the day before the tournament, I was at the shop to drop the stuff off. Painted a Lafa custom swim jig. He calls it the Joker as well, but it's like a purple, gold, and black. And I held up the jig. I said, "Dean, I'm gonna take the tournament. I'm gonna take it on your Lafa jig." And it just so happened that that's how it went down, man. But yeah, 2-time Lafa spotty tournament champion.
That's
22.
awesome, man. Nice. It's no joke. Winning those things is not easy. All right, Nick, awesome. And then we'll bring Aaron in here. I actually met Nick at PCS this year, so I haven't, we've been talking a little bit, on Instagram back and forth prior to that, but we were partners at the Warbaits booth, and that's where we got to meet and stuff like that. And then I see you out there winning tournaments. I'm like, man, this guy knows how to fish, so that's good stuff. And last but not least, Aaron Kruger himself. Aaron, let us know who you are, what you do.
Hello, my name is Aaron. I'm from San Diego, and I like to fish. I try to do it every day. I'm from DFA.
Right on, man.
He's leaving himself light. That's
right.
This guy
How long,
out there.
How'd you start fishing?
I'm randomly fishing. I see this guy everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. How'd you get your start fishing?
Oh, I was young, probably 14 or 15, and I lived in Coronado at the time, and all my friends I met over there fished. So I started fishing with them, and they were showing me the ropes.
That's awesome. And then you worked on sport boats too, right?
Yes. From 92, I started at Islandia Sport Fishing, and then about 95, I went over to C4 Sport Fishing, and I did that till about 2003.
That's awesome. How many days a week you think you fish currently?
Oh, currently maybe 3 to 4 a week.
Yeah, man, that's pretty good. I mean, you might fish more than anybody I know, and
I know.
you got, and you're on here too. You got just a huge Instagram presence, and I know you got hacked last time, but I mean, how many followers did you have prior to that?
7,000.
7,000, dude. That's no joke. I'm creeping up on 2. Yeah, that's not easy, dude. So you're definitely a pioneer down here in San Diego. I know everybody that fishes, they know Aaron Kruger for sure. So awesome, dude. So we'll get into the questioning. I mean, so these are the guys. We got Nick, Brian, Aaron. So we'll get all their different perspectives. They fish different zones, a lot from different crafts and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to see just the different answers we get. Like I said, guys, in the chat, if you guys have any questions, let us know. Let's see some of the stuff we had queued up. Yeah, so I talked about spotties being special. So just in general, I want to know what makes spotty special to you guys. Nick, why don't you start off with us?
Yeah, so when I originally first started fishing spotties, I was mentored by a gentleman by the name of Kurt Williamson, and he and his family were moving from California up into the Puget Sound and the Hood Canal up in Seattle. And he said, "Nick, before we leave, we want to do like this whole bass thing. We want to do freshwater bass, and then hit the salt and do sand bass, calico bass, and spotted bay bass." So that's what we did, and I just, ever since then, I just held it near and dear to my heart, because it was kind of bittersweet type of thing, what I mean? So that's how I started spotty fishing, and that's why spotty fishing means, a lot to me. It was more about the meaning behind it.
Awesome. Aaron.
I like spotty fishing for the people that you meet, down the line.
Yeah.
A lot of different characters that I normally wouldn't hang out with. Now I do because of spotty fishing.
That's awesome. So true, man. So true. It's funny when you're seeing the clean cut MMFCers and then DFA blending together. It's like
no,
it's like oil and water, but it works, man. everybody gets along.
What are
like
you
you're
talking
saying,
about? We
cool.
have Leonard in our group. We have no.
Yeah, Leonard's kind of grizzly, but so, he's not DFA material. He's like the bad boy of the MMFC. Yeah, that's awesome, man. So people you meet, that's cool. Brian.
Oh man, spotty fishing. Jeez, I've been talking about spotty fishing for you guys have been listening to me like for 3 years. You guys that watch my other show, and it's truly taken over my life, to be honest with you. Spotty fishing when I was younger, and I remember first catching spotties. I used to call them Bay Bass. I was like, oh, Bay Bass, and I just couldn't believe that you would have this fish on the line, and it was like this long, and you're like, oh, it's a big one, and you pull it in, and those things fight so. Every time you get like a 12-inch one, you're like, it's huge. Especially when you first start and it comes up and it's 12 inches long, you're like, well, this fish is insane. Because I kind of have a large background too, and the spotties just hit. They're just grumpy little guys, man. And when they hit, you literally get hooked on these fish. And to me, it's so cool because it's like, I don't know if I call it urban fishing or what, but like when I go to a lake, you got to pay, there's a whole process to, getting onto the lakes and everything. But out here, man, you got a few hours, you can just go shore pound, it's all free. Launching our boat in our bays, Nick, is free. Sorry about your bays, but I think you guys pay what, $12 to launch up there?
Yeah, it's 10 or 12 bucks.
You have to pay? Oh man.
Yeah, and guys, just think about this. I think we're currently living in the glory days of San Diego fishing for us, because one, we have access to these amazing bays, these great fisheries that we take them for granted. I think they're just so amazing. We get to go there for free, and then if we want, we fish the bay, right? And that's a great fishery: halibut, spotted bay bass. Or if we want to just get wild, we'll just cruise on out and do some inshore fishing where we got our yellowtail, our calicos, our sand bass, all that. And then if we get crazy in the summers, we go offshore and we can fish for tuna and bluefin, all in one basic fishery. And then also we have our local lakes, which are like a world-class largemouth bass fishing too. So there's a reason why we pay so much to live in this part of the country. And for me, that's the main reason. The fisheries here are amazing, and we're living in the glory years, guys. I think they're getting ready to shut us down or probably start charging us. This can't go on forever, right? So
right. So that
we'll be telling stories about these days, I think.
Right. I agree. I mean, that kind of leads me into the next one of the questions so this is an observation I have, I'd like to get your guys' opinion on this, if it's true or not, but I think, and maybe you can disagree with me, but do you think that the fish are larger? I think I've seen larger fish this year in general than I've seen in years past. I haven't been spotty fishing, obviously that long, a couple of years where I've been like trying to target spotties. But in the couple of years that I fished, it seems like the size of the fish have been larger than I've seen in previous years. So I'm just curious if you guys agree, disagree, or if you think I'm full of it and they're all kind of the same. What do you think, Aaron?
I think, well, in the long term, when I was younger, say 15 years old, I didn't see any 14, 15, 16. I didn't see that back then. I didn't see it till I started fishing again in 2017.
Oh, wow. So you think that's a kind of a recent trend?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. I've heard old timers telling me they used to see the big ones, but maybe they're just to have that old time fantasy going on.
Yeah.
So you agree they're bigger? Why do you think that is? Do you think 2023 compared to the last couple of years they've been bigger? What do you think about that?
It's probably because they raised the size limit.
Interesting. And
there was 12 and then it went to 14. They should go back to 12 because 14 and up are breeders. So you know what I mean? Like they should keep it at 12 or make a slot limit, like 10 to 13 is what you can keep. Keep those breeders.
Or let's just make it illegal to keep them, period.
But it actually, I found out that it makes it better if you take. It makes their population better.
Right on that, yeah.
Yeah. Brian, what do you think? Are they bigger this year, or we just smoking crack?
When I would say before I'm speaking for San Diego, Nick, but before they dredged Mission Bay, I think they dredged it in 2018 maybe. I'm talking 15 years ago. I think the fish we had like a period like I think we're in right now where the fish were really big. I can remember coming across my PB spotty. And back then, back when I first started, I didn't carry measuring devices or scales or anything. I just knew when they were really big. And back then, I can remember catching a fish that were pushing 19 inches. And then we had a period of 2018 till getting now to where it wasn't like a 16 and a half was a really big fish. And now that this year, especially with Spotty Bowl, we keep really good track of all these fish. We have 150 people competing in this event, and they're all taking pictures of their 5 biggest fish. And we see all their measurements, and we see the fish they're catching. And this year, from the 3 Spotty Bowls, is definitely the. I don't know if the guys are getting better or if the fish are getting bigger, but to me, it feels like the fish are getting a more solid group of bigger fish. Like the overall numbers that people are getting this year are a lot bigger fish. I say I'm not bigger, maybe more bigger, like more legal they're caught. It feels like.
Right. So
I remember when we started, like who's going to be the first
based on angler skill? Or you think they're just growing bigger?
I don't think so because I remember when we first started, we're like, who's going to be the first person to catch 5 legals in their bag? That was a big deal when that first started happening. And now it's like if 5 legals is not good enough, you need 5, 15, 5, 10,
right.
16, and 17 kicker in there now. So I don't know. Maybe these guys are just getting better, but I don't know. This year, I agree with you, Muto. Feels like I feel like we're seeing some bigger bodies come around. I look at Salty Dangler caught a 3-pounder. I caught a 3-pounder this year, and those are rare.
He caught that 18, and then like a week later, somebody posted like a 19 fish. I was like, I haven't seen a 19-inch spotty like ever. Like not anybody that I've known.
Everybody. They're caught. And you know what? A lot of these people that just come out and fish out of the back of their boat and they're targeting halibuts and they catch these big spotties, they don't even realize they're big. I mean, we would look at that fish and be amazed. But they, some of these guys that just aren't specifically targeting them catch these big ones and they just don't realize that, hey, that's a monster fish. They're not posting them on Instagram or telling us what's going on.
What do you think, Nick? You seeing the same thing or?
Yeah, so up north in my area, southeast LA area, there's definitely been a trend in bigger fish being caught. I mean, Brian knows it takes a largemouth bass about 10 years to get 10 pounds. So, when you start seeing those bigger fish, it's definitely a sign of, the fish. I think what it is, so I had mentioned in, a previous conversation that I stopped fishing spotties for a while because I took it personal when people were poaching and people were, taking undersized fish and just taking over their limit and stuff like that. So I felt, me personally at that time, that the fishery was being, damaged and taken advantage of by poachers. So I left them alone. I left them alone for a lot of years, and I could get into more detail later on, but I think now the fish are starting to, there's a lot more people that are fishing now and targeting spotted bay bass. It became really popular over the course of COVID. Everybody wanted to be outside. So, there's a lot more pressure. However, I feel it gave the fish a chance to kind of rejuvenate, come back, and kind of be left alone a little while, because for a while we were in lockdown and nobody was allowed outside, so
right.
Definitely a lot of fish in 2022, 2023, probably stuck well over 30 fish that were over 3 and 4 pounds.
Right.
So a lot of big fish coming out.
There's some big fish up there north.
Yeah.
I have a feeling, Nick, that our largest bag caught in Spotty Bowl is 78 inches. And I have a feeling that's going to be broke, and probably in Alamitos Bay, it feels like to me there's some potential of catching like a lot of big ones up there. I don't know.
Was that, you said, how many inches?
78, best 5. That's the best. That's like almost a 15 3/4 average 5 fish. But Alamitos Bay, I don't know. I think up there north, I don't know. There's some big stuff up in there.
Yeah, so
I
that
think
was
when the water heats up, because we've never, down here, we've never kept track of, but now we're seeing, because we have, I think, 56 anglers in the LA division up there. Now we're seeing what, compared to San Diego fish, compared to LA fish. So
Interesting.
we're going to see.
Have you ever fished up there, Aaron?
LA area?
Yeah.
I think I fished Marina Del Rey twice.
What about Orange County, or you just stick to the San Diego waters?
Yeah, I don't like to go all the way up there.
No, too far.
No.
It's a journey for us.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I always
so what
say it's like driving to Disneyland. It's way up there.
Right. And when Nick talked about too, something that was actually one of my questions on here, Aaron, what do you think? What do you guys think the impact of all these like influx of anglers? I know I talked to, I think maybe it was even their Afrin or something. We were chatting, and there was just this huge amount of anglers have come in, since.
I think it's great.
You think it's good?
I think it's great.
Think it's hurt the fishery or helped, or you like it?
Of course, it makes everything more pressured, but
right.
Who am I to say stay out of that area or anything? You know what I mean?
Right. That's good. So you're not butthurt for your.
Oh hell no.
That's good.
I'll go fish their old water and catch fish.
I thought you were going to tell me you hated all those guys.
No,
that's what you said in the pre-stream. I thought you were going to bring the fire. That's funny.
I don't mind, man.
You're down with it. That's cool, dude.
I love it, man. I love having my favorite fish, becoming, I know it's pressure, but you know what? There's a million of them there. I love having it. All the attention goes to the largemouth industry, pretty much. I know our industry, the spotties, is kind of a niche, but basically everything that was created for the largemouth industry, we just take and we use that for fishing spotties. It's the same rod, same reels, same gear. That's awesome. And that's, for me, spotty fishing, that's one of the best things about it. For a largemouth, kind of the similar, you're trying different lures, and that's what keeps me in the game. Is I love to find a lure at the shop that's good, take it, and see if I can catch a big spotty on it.
Right. So my next question: Have you ever eaten a spotty, Brian?
Come on, man.
Is that a no?
That's a no.
Nick, have you ever eaten a spotty?
Never.
Aaron?
I filleted a spotty for a person, and the meat was gray.
Did you taste it?
No, I filleted it for a customer. I was getting off work, and he had a bucket with a couple of them in it, and they're already dead. And he's like, "Will you fillet these for me?" And I did, and all the meat, they had a gray tint to the meat. It was white, but it looked gray.
That's flavor, dude. So what do you think they should put a size? You think the size limit's good where it is, or should we increase it, or you think it's fine?
The size limit on the fish?
Yeah.
On spotties?
Yeah.
I think it should be at like 11 inches.
Smaller.
There should be a slot limit, 10 to 13.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I think would be best.
What's your reasoning behind that?
Just because the 14s and 15s, those are the breeders, man. You don't want to keep those, and that's what people are keeping nowadays.
Well, that's all you can keep.
Yeah, there's like Florida has lots of.
We should change it.
Do we have any slot fish in California? I know like Florida, that's like a big thing with them, is they've got a lot of like slot fish. Alaska too has that as well.
So if I can, if I can interject for a second, I'm gonna have to disagree with Aaron on that one. Not so much on the slot, right? But it's not only the 14, 15, 16-inch fish that are breeding. You'll see a big 16-inch female with a 9-inch male. So it's not just the big fish that are breeding, it's small fish too.
How do you know it wasn't? Oh, never mind. How do you know it wasn't a mother and son combo?
Either way, it's still a small fish and a big fish.
They get to 6 inches really quick their first year, and then it takes them 10 to 12 years to get to an actual legal size. They get pretty big, that 10-inch range, quickly. But for them to get to that 16-inch, that 14, 17-inch, they're slow growers once they hit.
After they hit a certain point. That's true.
Yeah, so it's a sprint, and then they slowly grow.
What I learned out on the boats and stuff with calicos, they always say throw those big ones back because those are the breeders. So that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
So bass overall, in general, the female is predominantly bigger than the male. So that's why you'll hear that on the sport boats a lot, is because no matter what bass species it is, it's primarily the females that are always bigger.
Interesting. You think so? What do you think about the slot, or not the slot size limits? You think it's fine, or
Yeah,
you
I
think it
agree
should
with
be no limit? Yeah,
I agree with the slot. I think there should be. I think it
14.
would be really cool if we had that slot, so that again, it gives people more of a chance to catch the bigger ones. Not so much just because they're breeders, but how many people are constantly setting the bar for themselves to break their PB? Yeah, I caught a 2-pounder.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
15 inches. I want to catch an 18-incher, 3-pounder, right? So, I think setting that limit the bracket would be a good idea. Give people more chance to break their PBs consistently.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well,
Brian,
I think the spotties are considered like in the largemouth category. I mean, people are going out there as like a sports fish. You know, you're not going out there when you're a largemouth fisherman. You're going out there for the sport of it to try to catch this trophy fish. It's a largemouth bass, right? And you don't see many people go into a lake targeting largemouth bass to take home and make tacos out of it. You know, it's not that. And I consider that a spotty kind of the same thing that people are. It now has became a really, you know, maybe not back in the day, but now to me, it's like a sport fish. You know, you catch it, you take your picture, you release it, and you just keep trying to upgrade to your bigger PBs. And
Yeah.
it's turned into a tournament fish now, just like a largemouth. So I mean, we're kind of following that largemouth trend of the spotted bay bass being a sports fish in that kind of same category, in my mind at least.
Yeah.
awesome. We had a question here. Yeah, I was wondering we're gonna get to some of these. I got these are what the guys really want, right? I'm over here talking philosophical questions and bringing it to a high another level. But Andrew Tosh wants to know, what's your go-to artificial bait for spotties? Aaron?
PK5 by Kicker Fishing.
Any head in particular, or you just
War baits, 1/2 ounce.
okay, cool. That's your go-to.
Yeah, I like to match them so they look perfect.
Yeah, you're not down with the sloppy
Oh,
color
hell
action.
no.
Come on, man, you were with me this. I went fishing with him this weekend, and I annoyed him like I do everybody because my baits are never perfectly rigged. But Aaron,
What's that?
I'm saying that when we went fishing this weekend, he watched me put on a bait. And kind of
How did Brian do with the sloppy baits?
He does good, man. He does really good.
Breaks your heart, huh? You want him to like never catch any.
I don't know. I think it's more in our head that the bait's perfectly everything. But you know, I like the way it looks when it's perfect. But if I'm in a rush,
you have a specific color you use?
I like the hitchhiker. I like the hitchhiker.
What is that?
It's blue and it has a tan top.
Oh, nice. There you go. Blue tan top. What size? Yeah. PK5, you said?
PK5 and then PK7 at the receiver.
Nice. So you guys don't know that's like a 5-inch and 7-inch. So when they said 5 or 7, Brian, do you have one bait? What's your go-to artificial?
I'm so long-winded, dude. It depends on the season, to be honest with you. You know, what they're biting that type of the year, you know, winter to spring to summer, you know, it just depends. One bait would obviously be Cool Baits, Submission Fishing Co. I love the slow pitch jig. I think it's a very consistent bait, you know, year round. And I love the underspin, which I think is good for the grass and going in the deeper water. So, and of course the A-rig always for me, but it depends. To me, it totally depends on the season. It's totally seasonal for me what bait I pick. I could be fishing one thing one month and I'm switching to another thing the next month.
That was a total Brian answer. So it depends.
I could sit here and talk about that question for 20 minutes.
That's true.
I'm not
That's true. I know
it depends. It depends.
Do you have one?
You know? I'll take out 9 rods. Oh, sorry.
Cut off. You're cut off, Brian.
Sorry.
Nick, do you have one, or you got the same philosophy?
I do have the same philosophy as Brian, coming from the largemouth bass, you know, fishery. You want to have a rod ready for pretty much anything that you want to throw at them, except the kitchen sink. Right? Yeah. Crankbaits, spinner baits, buzz baits, top waters, walkers, glides, craws, creatures, you name it. You want to have something ready. However,
and the last resort drop shot. Don't forget that.
Yeah, the cheater
What
shot.
about okay? How about this? You get three.
So
you get to take three baits.
So
what are you taking?
So my biggest thing is this. I'm a big shore pounder. I don't fish the boat very much. But even when I fish the boat, I take 3 rods. But shore pounding, I take 1 rod, and I do that purposely so that I could be 100% committed to what I'm throwing. And I think, this is me personally fishing over all these years, a swim jig is a very versatile, all season, all water type of bait. You could throw that swim jig no matter what time of year it is, no matter what the water conditions are.
You're talking about these.
And just changing it up and swimming it different, making that presentation something that they're gonna hit is the important key. Yeah, that's swim jig right there.
Do you have a name for this one? You gave me this one at PCS, and I'll probably never fish it because it's custom painted, and I don't want to get it all messed up. So it sits on my desk, basically.
Nice.
You have a name for this one?
I don't. I can't.
You just
I can see
it's
that
like purple and orange.
Oh, okay. Okay, no.
It was just a show special. So
yeah,
do you have 3? Like, what if I told you you got a tournament, you can take 3 setups? I mean, what are you taking?
I'm taking a jig, number 1. I'm taking a swim bait rod, number 2. And I want to say probably a light setup for like an underspin for sure.
Nice. Classic, dude. Classic. Aaron.
3
so
setups?
You can't have one, your 3. What are your 3? If I could tell you got 3 setups to take, tournament fishing, like what are you grabbing?
I grab 1 7-foot heavy rod with a PK5 and a half-ounce head. Grab 1 610 medium with a jerkbait tied on it, and that's all.
Just the 2.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Awesome, Brian. You get 3 setups. What do you?
I'm gonna bring an ultra light setup, which would have the Submission Co 15 gram on because I'm fishing from a boat too. Remember. So I'm going that for my structure fish. I'm going for my grass fish, which is the Cool Baits underspin. Probably go with the 3/8 with the Kitech on there. And
what color?
Of course, I can't leave out my baby. I'm bringing myself an A rig. I know you don't like that, Aaron, but I love it, baby.
You don't like the A rig, Aaron?
Not really.
Why not? Cheating?
Stupid to throw. It's like boom, 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 boom on the water, and then it's just a lot of drag when you're
it's maybe Aaron because we fish from shore a lot. Maybe it's a good bait from shore, that's for sure.
I mean, I've tried it. I'm not that narrow-minded.
That's funny. A rig works though, but yeah, that's definitely and not.
It
so
works
much
sometimes of the year, like wintertime.
From a boat is great. From a shore, it's a little rough.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But you're fishing the jigs from shore though too, right? You're throwing those slow pitch out there.
Yeah, I do from the docks. Usually, that's when I use those.
Yeah, nice. Brian, you fish those from shore?
Oh, what's that? When anytime I can get near any structure that is any structure that I know of, that's one of my first things I throw because if they're there, if the fish are there, they're gonna bite it. So that's it. To me, that's like an exploratory bait. You just fling it in there, and if they're there, they're gonna bite it. And nice. If you throw it 2-3 times, you don't get a bite, just get out of there because if they're there, they would bite that bait. That's a good bait to find them with.
So do you
think it's a good bait to cover water because it's fast? Boom, boom, nothing there. Boom, boom, nothing there.
That's what I mean. Exploring, you just drop it in there 3 times and move
for sure. Yeah. So do you think color matters?
Maybe at night with the glow. At night with the glow.
I don't know.
Do you think color matters?
No.
No, don't matter. So the glow, you think the contrast with glow and stuff like that?
Yep.
Aside from that, you'll fish it all?
Yes.
Nice. Nick, what do you think?
Color matters.
Yeah. Do
Oh
you
yeah.
have favorites?
Let me
Or-
guess, Nick. I take a wild guess.
You know, if it's a trade secret, you don't have to tell us. Don't
No,
worry.
let me guess. Green pumpkin.
Yeah. No. No.
Because he's a bass guy.
To be honest with you, I'm a big fan of the darker stuff. So like blacks and reds and blacks and purples and blues and blacks. And the reason for that is because that darker stuff, when it's falling, it creates a silhouette. So if there's no bait fish in the water, or if there is bait fish in the water, or if it's dark or light, you still have that real dominant silhouette with something that's dark.
Bait doesn't turn black at night.
Yeah, depending on what it is.
I fish. I
wouldn't
start
know.
with a color, and if it's
I
not
heard
working,
that
I'll
they-
switch.
So what do you think about the color? You think color matters or doesn't?
I'll start with the common colors. A dark color or maybe an unnatural color, and if that's working, I'll just stick with it and find the pattern of what they're chewing on. And then if I'm not catching any fish on it, I'll switch to a different color, and I just rotate through my colors until I find it. And usually it's a seasonal thing. So if they're biting my orange and green, I'll throw that the whole season. And if it stops and I find out they're biting the glow or they're biting chartreuse, then I'll throw that until it dries up. So I just find what pattern works at that time.
Is there anything like you just don't touch or
Not,
anything you just don't use or it doesn't matter?
I used to stay away from like the bright pinks and bubble gums and stuff like that, but they'll catch, calicos. They go for that kind of stuff. I don't know. I'm really not too picky.
I've done a few tests.
Most of the people I fish with go with natural colors, the shads or
Yeah,
just because
that's
that's in
pretty
their
popular.
brain that's what match the hatch, fish with. But
definitely.
I tend to go to the darker colors, the dark greens, the blacks, black with the silver, something like that.
Go ahead, Aaron.
I've done color tests with people a few times, and I've taken. Everyone's like, "Oh, bait fish, you got to have smelt color. It's got to be bait fish color presentation." Well, I've taken a fire tiger color. I don't know if you know what fire tiger is. Throw that out.
Orange.
Boom, catch one. Throw a black out in the daytime. Boom, catch one. I don't think it matters as much as you guys think.
Yeah.
Interesting. Is that just because you catch on everything, or you just overthink?
No,
I'm not like I'm not a huge color guy either. I'll fish whatever. I think it matters a little bit, but yeah,
I don't care what color it is. I don't really care about the color, but I like everything to match. It has to match. Like the head has to be the same color as the bait.
So then you care about color. It matters to you then.
In his head.
Oh yeah, it does. Got the shoes got to match the pants.
Yep,
Yeah, it's really more of a confidence thing when it
Yeah.
comes to color for me, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. For sure.
Like Aaron said, I've fished a lot of prototype baits too, and tested a lot of different color baits for people too at different seasons, at different times of the day. But really, that goes back to my point of taking one rod out, right? You take one rod, and many of mentors of mine have told me take one rod and take one bait. Don't even take your bag. Don't take your tackle box. Take one rod and one bait so that you're fully committed, and your confidence is at 100% in that one rod and that one bait that you took out, no matter what color it is.
You're talking to the one rodder.
Yeah.
Yes.
Aaron's a great example of that.
So
Go
for
fishing.
So for me, I struggle with OCD, and to me, color matching is a big deal, just because of my OCD,
Right.
not because like Aaron said, the big fish don't turn black at night. No, they don't. But it goes dark, and the moonlight and the stars come out, and it create a silhouette. So
Yeah.
some fish can't see color.
If you're an OCDer, yeah, I mean, I did a test. Fish absolutely do see color, and they have decent vision. When the water, it's kind of when the water comes into play, it lessens a lot. But in like clear water, it's like, yeah, they actually do have good vision.
Yeah.
But don't ever go on Brian's boat if you're an OCD guy, because you'll probably have a heart attack.
You'll catch fish though. I guarantee that.
Seeing those baits.
But it's all about, if you don't have confidence in that bait, you rig it up, it looks terrible, you think it looks terrible, you're gonna cast that thing 3 times, you're like, it's not working.
Yeah.
But if you have confidence in that bait and you look at that thing and it looks super fishy and you've caught fish on it before, you're going to fish that thing. You're going to grind that thing. Your presentation's not going to be, you're not going to be trying to get it in fast. You're going to be going slow. So the confidence, what Nick is talking about, is really important, just for the factor in your head that I'm fishing the right thing and I'm fishing it correctly. It's not, jerking to the side or something's not quite right on it. Aaron probably thinks that if it's kicked off, it's not going to have the right kick, and he may
like
just,
he said, it's a confidence thing.
Yeah. I think any tournament angler will, and any angler will say that once they get confident in a bait, they know it's going to catch fish. They just got to find them.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. You got to find that column.
Abdul Fontana wants to know, SoCal, what's your favorite bait at the moment?
Right now it's going to be the 1/2 ounce war baits. I fish the shit out of that thing.
Nice.
Any time of day, any time of night, any time of season. The 1/2 ounce is definitely your center point. Some people like fishing the light. I get it. I don't disagree with it. I actually grew up fishing microlight stuff for largemouth bass. I actually have a custom CalStar BT 120 cut down to 4.5 feet before the whole BFS thing started. I had that made when I was 17 years old by Tommy over at Performance Tackle, and he thought I was crazy. So, but I agree with fishing light or fishing heavy. I just find that 1/2 ounce is a true center point, and it's my go-to. So 1/2 ounce war bait, swim bait. Of course, I'm fishing everything that's custom right now. So
awesome.
So that's my go-to.
Aaron, pickle kick.
Sir.
What's your go-to? That's the one.
Well, I've been doing it since the beginning of January. It's a pretty cool bait. It's pretty fun to fish. You can catch like 100 fish on them.
What do you use? 1/2 ounce?
1/2 ounce war baits. Yeah, I try to. He has most of the colors, so the colors match up pretty good.
Nice. That's awesome. Brian, what's your favorite bait right now?
I'm right there with Nick. I love anything I can cast and retrieve right now. So for me, it's the underspin. Nice. And 1/2 ounce, same with me, Nick. That's like the starting ground. So if I'm at 20 feet, I'm fishing the 1/2 ounce. And lately, I've been fishing a lot deeper. So I'm 3/4, even all the way up to 1 ounce baits. But same with you. I start at that 1/2 ounce aggressive bait. So my cast and retrieve, for me, it's the underspin. And that's probably my go-to bait this time of the year.
Nice. If you're taking one rod reel, what is it?
Me?
Yeah.
What am I fishing for? Spotties? And where am I at?
Spotties. Let's say shore pounding. Shore pounding for spotties.
Shore pounding for spotties. Mission Bay. I'm taking the cool bait. San Diego Bay. I'm taking the Submission Fishing Co. jig.
Nice. What about the rod and reel?
Submission Fishing Co. definitely BFS for me because I'm fishing the 15 gram on 6 pound with the 6 pound leader, super light. I'm fishing 15-pound braid. I love the light setups for that. So BFS, Phoenix Feather rod, and for Mission Bay with the cool baits, I'm going with the inshore Phoenix rod M1. But SLX, I'm in love with the SLXs.
Nice. What about you, Aaron? You get one rod, one reel.
Phoenix RTS 715H with Shimano Tranx 150.
Ooh. Nice. And how do you have that spooled up? What weight braid?
I put 50-pound J braid. 50-pound J braid to a 20-pound leader.
Wow, that's awesome. Why do you go so heavy on the braid?
Because it makes it more manageable. It's easier to take a backlash out. It doesn't get many backlashes, and it gets fewer wind knots. Just more. The higher you go, the more manageable it becomes.
Okay, good stuff.
Are you fishing Max Quattro? High strand type stuff?
No. That stuff locks up on itself. I'll cast and it'll go just stop mid-flight. So I stopped using that.
Nice. Nick, one rod, one reel. What is it?
My go-to is a Warbaits 7.2 medium.
The new one.
Paired with a Baits Goat 150, 40-pound Power Pro Vermilion, straight braid, no floral.
What pound test?
40 pound.
40 pound. You say that. So you don't use any leader?
No leader.
Straight braid.
Straight braid.
That's straight gangster, dude.
Heck yeah.
I'm out there to break
ballsy, dude. You don't have any break offs. You don't suffer anything like that.
No.
That's awesome, dude.
That's funny. So 3 different people, 3 different styles.
Yeah, totally different styles.
You know, I'm like I said earlier, Brian, I'm big on the microlight stuff. I just got sick and tired of losing fish.
I've got to the point where if I fish that heavy line, it feels funny to me. I've been fishing the lightweight stuff for so long that it just feels. I love fishing. Kind of finessey, slow.
Yeah, it's really good when you're out there on the boat and you got a lot of open water. It's horrible when you're around docks and pilings and a lot of structure. You're gonna get busted off.
I try to position because I'm on a boat, I'm on the water, so I try to position myself on every cast where I have the opportunity to, right when I get bit, pull that fish's head around and get him out of the structure. And that's just been the style I use lately. Just trying to position myself, bear the structure, and make sure I have the best chance of winning that fish when he does bite.
Nice.
Yeah. No, I
fishing,
man.
Are you fishing primarily grass, Nick, or are you fishing like around docks and stuff? Or
so again, I was taught and coached and mentored by a bunch of freshwater bass fishermen from both shore and the boat. But you know, when you're fishing from shore and you're shore pounding, you're really looking for a lot of structure, right? You're the old saying goes, think like a fish, right? So where would a fish hide? Under a tree stump, on the side of a rock where a shadow's casted because the sun is out, right? In a weed patch, in hill grass, in pits because we're spawning and they made a little hole, right? So anything where there's something for them to hide, pie lines, mussel beds hanging on the underside of your docks, you know, any part where there's structure. Because I do a whole lot of shore pounding, I'm fishing a lot of structure. So I want to turn their heads right away, and I can't get that with chloral, or you can, but I just don't want to risk busting off because.
So you don't want the stretch that
I fished 30-pound straight braid, and I'm busting off on hook sets. You know, so
that's savage.
Yeah,
that's swim jig fishing right there.
That just tells you that fish, when it hit, was like tucked away somewhere and just turned its head and popped. You know, that's it. So I upgraded. I went to 40-pound Power Pro Vermilion.
Have you ever just brought back a fish that was just the head and the spine? Where you just like you just ripped it out, set it so hard it was left the body floating.
No,
I love that hook because I do straight braid on my A rigs, 65-pound straight braid. And,
there you go.
You can injure your ribs. I don't know about you, but I've injured a few ribs on some of those heavy duty hook sets on those spotties.
Yeah. So let me ask you, Brian. You know, since you mentioned it, you know, 65-pound straight braid on the A rig. Do you feel like you're in more control when you're fishing that 65-pound straight braid on your A rig than you do fishing the microlight, the ultralight stuff with the fluoro leader?
If you follow the MLF and when those guys hook one of those largemouth bass, and you know, they're, let's say a smaller one for them, a 2-pounder or something, they set that hook and that thing is skiing across the water. You know, they're getting that. They don't want that thing to come off the hook. You give that fish 1 second too long and they'll come off the hook. So those pros, man, they're skiing that thing across the water. And with me during the tournament, the A-rig, I set that hook and I am muscling. My drag is fully buttoned down. I'm muscling that fish in. I'm not giving that fish a second to do anything. So yeah, you do have that confidence in it, but that's for my A-rig only. The other hook sets, it's a hook set with my 6-pound. I use my thumb on. I use my thumb on my bait caster to kind of button down the drag a little bit, turn its head, and then I let the drag and the rod do all the work for me. It's all in that first 2 seconds. I get that fish to turn its head. It's in that first 2 seconds of catching that fish.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because if you don't, that fish is a goner.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: do you think that if you're fishing a pylon with barnacles and mussels and whatever's on there, do you think that a 6-pound line would snap easier than a 15-pound line or a 20-pound line, or you think both of them are just goners?
Absolutely, 6 pounds gonna bust.
I've had good luck with 6-pound. I caught in your bay, Newport Bay, a 3-pound spotty on 6-pound line, and it was a heavy fight, but it got him in.
I don't disagree with that, you know, and actually hats off to you for for fishing at 6 pound.
Mainly for me, Nick, it's the sensitivity. When I'm throwing in a like a 3/8 or a quarter or even less than that, 1/8 bait, with that 6 pound test, I can feel it going through the grass, I can feel it bouncing off the bottom. And when I upgrade that line size, that sensitivity doesn't translate all the way down to my rod, you know.
So I'm fishing.
Yeah, with
that. You talk about sensitivity. I'm fishing that 40-pound Power Pro Vermilion on the Baits Goat 150.
Yeah.
With the War Baits 72M, and when I'm rolling a swim jig through the eelgrass, I can feel the blades brushing up against it, dude. Yeah. So, you know, is it your line that's creating that sensitivity, or is it your rod?
I think it's both in our heads, man. I bet. I mean, I think we could probably do good both ways, but you just feel like we were talking earlier. That's your confidence. My confidence is like.
Yeah, and for many years, when I fished, you know, Shimano and G Loomis, that's all I fished was microlight stuff. You know, 6 pound. I would fish at the most. I would fish 12-pound Magnathin back in the day. 12-pound Stren Magnathin, because it was the strength of 12-pound, but the diameter of like 6 pound.
Right.
You know, that was the go-to line back in the day. I'm talking in the 90s.
Awesome. So let's talk knots. Somebody wanted to know knots. What knots are you tying, Aaron?
My connection knot is a RP knot, and when I tie to a hook, it's a San Diego Jam.
Nice. Use any variations, or that's just your?
That's just all I do. Yeah, that's all I know.
That's awesome. And you ever fish straight braid?
Yes, I do. I like to do a straight braid to a clip, and then just put a couple baits in my hoodie and go.
Yep.
Savage, dude.
I fish the kicker clip.
At night, Aaron?
Clip.
At night, do you only fish the braid, or is it?
It's only at night, and I only fish like black braid or moss green at night.
Oh, interesting. And you have you ever suffered breakoffs just from the braid, or not an issue?
No, I haven't. You can rip them out of wherever they are before they even think about doing that.
Interesting. What about with like slow pitch jigging?
Slow pitch jigging? Straight braid to a clip.
Really?
At night, yeah, and I like to have a glow one at night.
You're suicidal. That's awesome. Well, you're fishing from shore too, but man, you guys are crazy. It's different fishing styles, though. I think that's what's interesting is like, because I fish, well, all I fish anymore is the slow pitch jig just because it's my product and I'm trying to launch it. So that's all I fish, you know, to get pictures and stuff like that. So it's like, for me, a leader's a must, man. Like those fish get so tangled up in like that first, if I'm vertical fishing, casting and retrieving is a different story, but like if you're vertical fishing docks, it's like, man, sometimes you don't even know when you're bit, and they get wound up in that. And I'm fishing like 25-pound mono, and I pull it up, and it's like Swiss cheese, dude, or not like it's like string cheese where it's like peeling, and you pulled them off the.
Oh, I've been super afraid before, but usually you get them out of there with that heavy stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. What kind of knots are you using, Nick?
Palomar.
Yeah, Palomar. You don't use a leader, so I guess that's all you're using, right?
Straight braid.
Yeah, straight braid is a Palomar.
Yeah, straight braid Palomar to a kicker clip.
Nice.
I went down to the kicker little storefront that Randy has.
That's awesome.
That was last year, but I bought a pack of like, at that time he had them like packs of 50.
Right.
So I just bought the biggest pack that he had.
To have some. So you're a clip guy. I definitely am too.
Yeah.
Aaron, you're a clip guy too, right?
No, I don't clip during the day. I rarely clip at night. I just when I'm going on.
You don't like all that junk, right?
I like to travel light when I fish.
Yeah, that's right. No swivels, no clips.
No swivels. Come on.
Brian, what knots are you using?
Let me answer that clip question though. The only thing I fish a clip on, because I don't like clips, is your jig, Muto, the Submission Fishing Co. And because the reason I fish that, this one, is I think I told you this, Muto. It looks terrible, and Aaron's seen me fish it. He hates it. It looks terrible.
A heart attack looking at this.
Can you see that? But this clip I use, because those spotties will swallow this whole bait. To me, that's a teeth guard. It works as a teeth guard, so they're not touching my 6-pound line. they get that and their teeth are just grinding on this clip, and it hasn't affected the fishing at all for me. That's the sole reason I use it, is for a tooth guard. That's it. Knots for me. When I started fishing, I bought Berkeley trilene back in the day, and on the back of the box there was a trilene knot. I learned it from the back of the box when I was young, and I've used that knot ever since, just because that was the knot on the back of the box and I got good at it. And my connection
That's a good knot though, actually.
Yeah, still works for me. And then the Albright knot for my connection.
Yeah, that's what I use too. Except I'm old school. I use the uni knot actually. That's just been money for me. And then I use the Albright knot for usually my other connection. Unless I'm jigging, then I'll use the AG chain knot to get fancy. But yeah, as I always tell people, the knot is just, people always want to know what knots, but it's whichever one you can tie the best. And there's so much nuance to knots, I think, that if you learn to tie one good, that's the one you want to stick with. If it's not failing you, don't change it. Don't try to learn something else. That's just my philosophy, right? If you get one you like and it works, I think the Albright knot's a lot like that. If you tie it wrong, it's terrible. It slips. But if you learn how to do it and do it well, that thing is like bulletproof. Just ask Kevin, because I got stuck on the bottom of the ocean, and dude, we could not break this line, dude. We were trying so hard, and I was like, well, at least my knots are good. Yeah, it was crazy. Let's see if we got any more questions here. Benji Moreno, Oos.
What's up, Benji?
What's going on? So do you guys have any go back to Aaron, do you have any superstitions when you fish? Is there anything you won't do or you have to do? A certain pair of socks that you always wear?
No, I don't. I really honestly don't have a single one.
Not like put your jig in the water and take it out so you don't catch a fish on first cast. Nothing like that?
No, nothing like that.
No bananas in the boat. You don't care?
No, bring your bananas.
Awesome. How about you, Brian?
Oh my gosh. You know me, Muto. There's like an entire 1 hour show on superstitions.
But do you adhere to any of them? Do you believe any of them?
Yes, I unfortunately am not crippled by them, but I would not call it so much of a superstition, but more of a routine. If I win a tournament with a shirt, I continue to wear that shirt, and I have like lucky shirts. I have a lucky hat.
Okay.
I almost lost it. It blew off my head the last tournament, and Salty saved it for me. Thank you, Salty. But yeah, I have my lucky items: hat, shirts, socks, pants, jacket.
That's funny.
Superstitions.
I mean, that's superstition. That counts. Yeah,
like,
you
I
got
think
your lucky
the
stuff.
first cast curse.
Well,
Fish on the first cast. I always is like, oh no, but it's awesome, but that kind of scares me a little bit. And bananas, I don't know. I'm kind of a superstitious about that. Dario, I'm sure, who's in chat, always bothers me with bananas because he's always got them on his boat. But yeah, just the normal superstitious stuff, I guess.
Shirts and stuff. How about you, Nick?
No.
No.
I'm not big. I mean, in working the sport boats and stuff like that, I mean, the only one would be the whole banana thing, Don't bring.
Are you no banana or team banana?
I think about it now, and I'm like, dude, who cares?
Right. Yeah, I've seen somebody eat a banana on a boat, and like people were like pissed off, dude. Like they were mad.
It doesn't bother me like that, but it's just I don't know.
Yeah, it's either you're. I mean, I don't disagree with a personal feeling like Brian has. Lucky hat, lucky shirt.
Yeah, I think it just goes back to the confidence thing. Like whatever gets you in the zone to fish your best, could do that.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think as of lately, and I'll be 110% honest with you. As of lately, I kind of feel that if I don't take my grandfather's needle nose channel locks with me, that my night, is going to be kind of hit and miss,
There you go.
For sure.
So that's more of like a memento thing. But I've been taking those probably for like the last 4 years now. So
that's awesome. Yeah, it's a comfort
I do
thing.
talk to my boat a lot. I talk to my boat and tell her she's good, and
Yeah.
Like give her a pep talk in the morning.
Yeah, you got to rub the side down, when you're driving.
I don't know. That's funny because me and Kevin been out there fishing a lot, like rock fishing deep, and I found myself talking to my boat coming back, and I'm like, because it was so choppy, dude, the last couple weeks, and I'm like, you did a good job, girl. You know, and we're like patting her because dude, it was hectic out there. She got us home safe, and I was like, I was petting her, letting her know she did a good job. But that's funny.
Well, your boat's fairly new. Wait till you have that thing for like 5 years. You know, you're gonna be in love with her.
It is love at first sight. Artificial fishing says slow down. Does bass slow down when the water gets 70 plus? No, I think it speeds up.
Oh, the opposite.
Yeah, so if you guys have any input on that, but it's my understanding that fish are cold-blooded, so they kind of acclimate to the weather around them.
I think the best spotty temperature for me is 68 degrees. Right at 68 degrees, like they're spawning kind of area, and that's when they start getting aggressive. But you know, we're seeing it because it's such a late cold season. It seems like right now. I think they're just going to go. They're not going to wait for that water temperature. I don't know if they need to for those younger fish to survive, but it seems like it's starting to, you know, the water's not warming up. Last time I was out there, it was still 57 degrees.
Once the water gets above 65, I'm not even fishing for spotties anymore.
Above 65?
Above 65 is when all the surface fish come into the bay.
Yeah, that's true.
You got all year to catch spotties, all winter to catch spotties, but come mid-May when the surface fish start coming in the bay, that's what I'm doing.
Okay, so it's just
year round.
It's not like they're slowed down. You just
the spotty fishing doesn't slow down. The spotty fishing doesn't slow down one bit, but once that water tip gets up, I want to catch surface fish.
Yeah, Corvina and Barracuda.
Yeah, Corvina, Bonito, Barracuda, all of it.
Saw that Barracuda, dude. You caught that. We were just talking about that. Me and Aaron were talking about legal Barracudas, and you caught one that exact same day. It was crazy.
That was crazy, huh?
Yeah, that was nuts. That was awesome, dude. Yeah, that was crazy. I was gonna say something. I totally forgot. Well, I think it was about the weather. So one thing that's interesting, maybe ask those guys, the water's been so cold lately, but the fishing has still been so good. Like it's been pretty amazing. And that's the tuna are close. The rockfish are biting. There's been yellowtail around, and the water has been it has not been warm. So what do you guys think? What do you think we have in store for us this year? How do you think fishing is going to be? I guess we'll just have a prediction. I mean, based on all the weather, anybody want to take on that
I think it's going to be just like last year. I think we're going to have an awesome, and last year was just, take your pick of what you want to go fish for that day. Spotties were awesome as always. But we had the Dorado come in. For me, I caught my very first Dorado with Leonard last year and with Roman. And, that was exciting. And then we had bluefin, we had yellowfin. I mean, it was a smorgasbord of fishing down here in San Diego. You just take your pick. What do you want to go catch that day? I think hopefully we'll have the same thing this year.
Well, the fuel prices have sport fishing so damn expensive these days. So you're lucky with the Bayliner, Brian.
Yes, I am. Thanks. Yeah. What is that?
What do you think?
That's Sorry about that.
Yeah. Pull that cat back in. I want to see that.
That's a rat, dude. You got a rat in your house. So what do you think, Aaron? Predictions wise, think it's gonna be a good season?
I don't know. I can't predict it, but I hope it's a good season. I want to get offshore this season.
You have any fish, like a goldfish that you want to get?
Yeah, I want to get a yellowtail in the bay. I want to get a legal white sea bass.
In the bay?
In the bay, yes.
I want to see that too.
Yeah, me too.
That'd be legendary. Nick, what do you think?
I seen a guy catch a yellowtail in the jetties.
Yeah, there was
standing on the jetty.
There was somebody caught a big black sea bass right there in the bay in the jetty.
Someone got a broomtail not too long ago, right at the lifeguard station where that rock jetty comes out as you go into Quivira.
Yeah.
Someone caught a broomtail there.
There's been some weird. That's what I'm saying. It's just been one of those years where it's like lots of good fish, lots of weird fish. So I think hopefully it's good like last year. What's weird though is that it's so different. The weather pattern is nothing like it was last year, but it's like the fishing has been very similar. So I mean, I'm not complaining if it stays good like that. What do you think, Nick? Good, bad?
I think it's going to be good. It should be about the same, if not better. I think what's really keeping the fish sparked right now is the fact that we have bipolar weather in California. It stays cold and then it spikes and then it gets cold again. So what fish really react to is that 1 or 2 degree spike in water temp. They think things are changing. They know what time of year it is. They're just waiting for that water temp to either spike a little higher and start doing their thing. So it tricks them in a sense, you know what I mean? Even though the water temperature is not rising very much, all it takes is 1 degree, you know. And I was taught that by Eddie Leland years ago when I worked for him on the Enterprise, and we were fishing Farnsworth for white sea bass. God, I had to be probably 17 years old. And he goes, man, I'm just looking for that one little ridge where the water temp is just 2 degrees difference. And we found it. And sure enough, I mean, we limited out, you know, for the whole boat on white sea bass, and they're all in the 40, 50 pound range.
Wow. And do you think that goes for spotties too? Finding the warmer water in the
Yeah. So I compare spotted Bay bass a lot to largemouth bass because they're not a really deep water fish, right? They're in our bays, they're in our harbors, they're in our jetties, and all that more shallow water stuff, right? So they're looking for that water temperature difference. So the shallower water, you know, on a high tide is going to spike a degree or 2 in temp rather than fishing on the outside, right? And then low tide, you target that outside because the warmer water is going to be on that outside. That low tide is drawing that warm water to the outside points.
You guys have a preference on tide? Oh yeah, go ahead, bro.
Just from the temperature thing to touch into that, just this weekend I was out fishing Mission Bay, and from one portion of the bay it was 57, and I could find portions of the bay that were all the way up to 62 degrees. So the bay, depending if you're back bay, front bay, the tide, whatever, that they follow that warm water. So last year at this time, the fish were in a total different area than they are this year at this time, and it's because of that temperature. Last year, where the water started warming up right about now. It really hits around May. But, they would come into their zones where they're getting ready to breed, and they're not there right now where they were last year. They're looking for that warmer water. Mission Bay has a 5 degree difference from one end to the other.
Yep.
I think that's why it's been popping off in South San Diego Bay, you know, right there in Coronado. And
there you go.
You know,
I mean, we took out the group 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and
everybody's been smashing it there.
As a group, Nick, we were like in the back bay. We caught 200 fish, about 15 of us in one day. It was crazy. We kept track.
I know people that fished towards Kellogg, where it's deeper and it's the mouth of the bay, didn't do that well. They were having a hard time
because it's 57 degrees up there.
Yeah, it was freezing. That's where the inlet is. That
plays a very instrumental and intricate role, you know, as where the fish are hanging at, man, is that as soon as they feel that spike, it triggers the hormones to start, you know, going into overdrive, you know.
And you speak about Kellogg, but you go into that place in August or June when that water is 68, 70, and it's every other pylon, dude. So it just depends on the water temperature. They'll follow that warm water. I don't blame them.
I don't notice much change.
In what, the temperature?
Well, just summertime, wintertime spotty fishing. I don't notice that much of a change. I think you guys might be looking way too much into it.
No, I think like the temp, not the winter to summer, but just the temp change in the different zones of water. Or you don't think you think you catch as much? But I mean, do you think you catch as much in like
summer and winter? Yeah, you'll have your days where you don't catch anything, of course. No, but I don't have a reason. I don't blame it on the barometer. I don't blame it on anything. I just sometimes they bite, sometimes they don't. But it's not very different for me because I try to fish every day. I see it every day. I mean, it doesn't change. I don't see it change. Like day by day changes, yeah. But as far as 59-degree water and 70-degree water, and I both had fantastic days in both.
I've fished a structure in this climate and in the morning and caught nothing, and I'm skunking everywhere. I go back to that structure, and some points of the day, I don't know why they came back to there, but that spot will be lit. You'll be catching them, and so it's a pattern you got to find. And sometimes they're there, and sometimes they're not. And sometimes it's just a matter of getting right on top of them when they're in the correct spot too.
Yeah, somebody was asking,
being lucky to be at the right place at the right time, I guess you'd say.
And Graham was saying, what do you guys think about sharing spots?
I'm all about it.
Or tight lips.
For me, the spotty anglers are awesome. Coming from my largemouth background, there's a lot of secretive and a lot of, don't go to my spots and don't fish that, don't do that. But to me, the spotty anglers and the bay anglers that I hang out with are totally open, spread our knowledge. We teach each other how to fish. We enjoy our company. It's competitive in these tournaments, but we still like to we still all talk, and there's no like huge secrets that we keep. I mean, of course we have our spots, but most of the spots are all known in like Mission Bay. There's only like 5 or 6 good spots. So we all talk. I think the spotty anglers are awesome that way. I'll share a lot of info.
Yeah. What about you, Aaron? I know you don't care, right?
I think life's too short for secrets, man. Like people telling you to blur your photos or don't fish there, it's my spot, are usually new because that's the only thing they know to fish for. So
what if you got what if you were pulling out like 19 after 19? You wouldn't blur your spot?
Hell no, I don't care. Let someone else get in there and get a 19. I'll get one somewhere else.
I'm pretty generous with my spots too, but I think if I found that honey hole, if it was good, maybe. But in general, I don't mind too much.
Is there truly a spotty honey hole that can produce a 19 every time?
No, I'm just saying theoretically, like if it happened.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't mind.
You go from talking about a honey hole to talking about a zone, right? People have honey holes. I'm a big believer because I knew nothing at one point in time of my fishing career, right? So I'm a big believer in sharing and putting people on the stoke and putting people on fish. Do I blur my photos? Absolutely. Because I have friends that live in certain areas and allow me to fish certain areas that are private, and I'm not going to burn them. Yeah. So out of respect to them, 100%. I'm going to burn photos.
Yeah. And I've had that happen too, where I don't care too much, but somebody has taken me places and they're like, don't ever mention that. And I'm like,
is his name Kevin?
Yeah, actually Kevin has taken me. Yeah, I have done that in like La Jolla and stuff where Kevin has told me that. He's like, don't tell me. I would never tell anybody about that place because it's just, I agreed to it. Yeah. I mean, totally get that.
It's not so much, dude. I could take somebody there, right? And if I take one person there, or I take 10 people there, whether I take them there or not, they still have to try to catch the fish.
Yeah.
Right. They still have to put in the work. They still have to put in the effort. And I'm going to share just about everything that I know, right? Because like I said, I always reflect back to me knowing absolutely nothing and being taught by genuine individuals for one main reason, because we're all going to have our day, right? We're all going to leave this earth at one point in time. And I feel in our fishing community that a lot of the kids these days, in these new up and coming genres, there's a lot that they missed out on. You don't see kids playing out in the street anymore until the street lights came on, right? You don't see that no more. So a lot of these kids are isolated. So to get them out and share the wealth and the knowledge with them, because they're going to be there when I'm gone one day, that hits home for me.
Right. Here's it.
I could care less.
Question. What's that? You couldn't care
Nothing.
No, man. That's like the whole point. Is I like that everybody's got no one.
I could care less if kids are on the stove. I mean, that has nothing to do with me. So
you're not trying to foster the.
No, well, I'll fish with people. When I go fishing, I call it 4, 5, 6 people to come with me. But as far as me caring about like who's on the stove, I'm worried about myself being on the stove.
You're not trying to help the kids?
What
Come
kids?
on, dude. You've never taken somebody young out fishing.
Of course.
Seen them catch a fish and been so fired up that they caught something.
No,
I personally have been more excited seeing somebody I know catch a fish than when I've caught a fish.
Like, I'm the same mood. So if I'm on my boat, I've caught a million spotties, you know, but when I see somebody catch their first or see somebody like having a good day where they caught 10 or 15 fish, it's like, I love that feeling that I put somebody on a stoke of a day and maybe, you know, taught them that, hey, you know, maybe I'll get into fishing now, because every time I went out to Dos Picos Pond or Santee Lakes and I got 0 fish, and I've been out there 100 times, I've never got fish. And now I found out, oh, you just do this, they're down on the bottom, and now I can catch fish, you know. And I love to see that, you know, not mentored, that's not the word I'd say. I've given somebody a little bit of knowledge, enough knowledge to go out there and do it on their own after they've left my boat.
Aaron disagrees. I love that, dude. The dark side.
I know.
I'm down with it, dude. I'm down with it. Let's see.
That's the great thing about the bay fishing. I think it brings everybody.
Yeah, everybody got a different way. Here's a question that we could probably never answer. What cadence are you guys doing? Slow and low or fast?
Oh, depends on what you're fishing.
Depends. Yeah.
So depends on what you're throwing.
Yeah, it
if I'm throwing a paddle tail, I'll do a slow retrieve, let it hit the bottom. 2 or 3 cranks, let it hit the bottom. 2 or 3, let it hit the bottom, like that with a paddle tail. But jerkbait, I'm burn, pause, burn, pause, burn, pause.
Yeah. You think it's time related or just what kind of bait you're fishing?
What do you mean?
Like time of year related or just bait dependent?
Yeah, once the water gets warmer, it's really the jerkbait time. But I've been trying to catch bass on jerkbait. So while I'm fishing Vina, I'm also fishing bass at the same time.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, you guys have any input on that?
Cadence for me is, yeah, for me, it's I slow it down in the winter because I think they want a little longer presentation. Yeah. And then once the bite's on, just throw out whatever you got. Just make sure you keep it down on the bottom. Medium wind. I don't really burn anything in because I'm trying to stay on that bottom. And don't forget the pause. So medium wind, and that's in summer. You just got to find them. If they're there, they're gonna bite it. The spotties will bite it. You just got to find them in the summer.
Yeah. You can't really say this is my grind, because if the wind's blowing, you're in a skiff, you're going to be speeding it up big time. And if there's no wind at all, you're going to slow it down. So you can't really say, well, I do a medium grind, and it's all different, everything you fish. So
yeah,
it's true.
Different spots.
Eventually you'll get the feel of it. You'll know you'll be watching your braid, and you'll know when it hits the bottom because you cast it out, watch that braid, and when it goes limp, you're on the bottom. And then eventually you'll start feeling how it feels on the bottom if you're touching the top of the grass or you're all the way down the sand, and you'll be able to adjust that speed to keep it on the bottom. And that's what you get from like these sensitive rods that these guys fish. You get that feeling all the way through the rod, and you'll feel what's going on down below. And then you'll just know in your head, hey, I'm right above the grass, I'm right on the bottom. And then you adjust as you go. Like Aaron said, the tide, the wind, all that has factors in it.
Nice. Yeah, so I'm right there with the rest of you guys. When you talk about cadence, everything comes into play, right? It's the number one, the time of the year it is. Number two, are you fishing an outgoing, incoming tide? Are you fishing, is your current ripping, right? Are you fishing a low tide or a high tide?
Exactly. It's always different. So you can't just say I'm a slow retriever. You know what I mean? It's all different.
Really, what the cadence is all about is you developing that cadence once you find the water column of where the fish are hanging. So if they're hanging at the bottom, yeah, you're gonna low and slow it. If they're suspended, you're gonna pick it up a little bit. And if they're scattered, you're gonna swim it. Depending on what type of bait you're fishing.
My advice, touching what Nick just said, if the tide's ripping and you're in a bay where just take like Mission Bay, for example, you're in under a bridge and that tide's ripping through there. You got like a 6-foot tide swing, it's really hard to catch a fish in that. And my advice when that's going on, go to the wide parts of your bay, Mission Bay, go over to Sail Bay, go over to Fiesta Island, go where it's like really wide when there's a huge tide swing, because those narrow areas, the water can be ripping through there.
Bridge is
so try fishing wider areas in the crazy tides.
That's good stuff. Scent or no scent on your plastics?
No scent. No scent. What if you might be using a scent that the fish fucking hate? So why bother putting that shit on your shit? All your hands are slippery every time you touch it. You rub them on your pants. You go home smelling like shit.
Oh my god!
So no scent for Aaron.
No scent.
Yeah, pretty straightforward answer on that one.
Are you sure, Aaron?
I've talked about. Are you sure you don't want to change your mind?
Sure, Aaron. You don't want to change your mind. You don't ever use scent.
A lot of my boys use scent, and they, you know what I mean. I fish with them every day. I'm not going to say I outfish them because then I'd be an asshole. So.
Either way, most of these baits now have scent built into them. Like when you buy a Kitech, it's got the squid scent. You know, it's already
right. What about a built-in scent, Aaron?
No scent.
What if it's a Kitech and it's got built-in scent?
Okay, so like I said, what if the fish fucking hate that scent and you don't even know what you did? You know what I mean?
They don't though. They love the Kitech.
I know of one.
How do you know the fish? How do you know the fish hates the scent? You're targeting a certain species, which is predatory to a certain bait, and they target and love to eat certain baits. So why would they hate it?
Because have you ever had a smelt in your hand? They don't smell like anything. They don't smell like garlic, I'll tell you that.
Or anise.
Hey, that's another fact that they love garlic. But scent. So I've talked about scent for hours, Muto. You've probably listened to me talk about scent for hours. Yeah. And for me, so there's a thing called a negative scent track. Like say you got sunscreen, you got gasoline, you got something on that bait that they may not like, or that bait comes out of the box and you smell it and it smells like a brand new car tire. You know, it smells, unnatural. I guess.
I'm not saying that scent doesn't work. I'm not saying scent doesn't work. It obviously works. Look at the gulp shrimp. It looks like a little fun-sized Twix candy bar. You drop that down, it gets fucking bit instantly. I'm not saying scent doesn't work. Scent works. I just don't want that shit all over me.
I don't blame you. That gulp, gulp is an amazing.
You said you didn't say you. You said what if you're throwing something that the fish hate?
The fish blood gulp. But what if you're throwing something that the fish hate? You wouldn't even know it.
Well, okay. You know if it was like gulp.
Yeah, well, gulp.
To me, gulp. You said the fish love gulp, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Gulp juice.
Yeah, that's
right.
That's what I'm saying. They like scent. I just don't want it on me. I'm not saying scent doesn't work.
Our joke in my club,
so Aaron doesn't use scent.
The emergency bait is the Berkeley grub, because that thing is like you can't catch a fish.
Yeah, if you don't get
throw
bit
out
on
a Berkeley gulp, and if they're not getting bit on that, there's nothing there to catch. But scent for me is more of not trying to attract them so much, but covering up whatever could be on there, I would say. So if it's been in your garage, it's, stinks, or your brand new bait that's poured and it smells funky, maybe I use scent probably 15-20% of the time. I'm not really into the scent, but if I think it's going to help me and I'm having a bad day, I'll throw it on there. If it works, whatever, I'll keep using it. Awesome. Coming from a guy that has like 6 different scents in his boat.
Yeah.
What about you, Nick? Do you sense at all?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
100%.
3 different things.
So I'll just fill you in real quick about scents. Okay. This is why I wholeheartedly 100% believe in scents. A mentor of mine in the freshwater bass fishing scene, Kenny Matthews, who's now gone and passed to be with the Lord. He had a son that went to University of San Diego, and he was majoring in science and biology. Okay. So one of their projects was to come up with something that was predatory towards any type of fish. So this is what his son did. He took crawfish he took bluegills, he took trout, he took crappies, and he took the little freshwater ghost shrimp that you see, the little clear ghost shrimp. And what they did in his group is they removed the enzymes and the pheromones out from each one of those, and they created an oil. And Kenny Matthews started injecting his plastics with that stuff.
Oh wow!
So you're talking about species that fish love to eat. So largemouth bass love to eat crawdads. They love to eat bluegill. They love to eat small crappie. They love to eat all that, right? So if you have a fish attractant impregnated into your plastics, kind of like Kitech is doing now with the squid scent,
Right.
Berkeley Gulp is doing with all of their scents, how much more effective do you think that bait is going to be? Because you're throwing something that they love to eat, not something that they hate.
That's true.
Sorry, I fell out real quick. Muta, sorry.
Oh, no problem. I thought you left because he was talking about scents.
No, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I can still hear you. I just don't see your picture. It's all good.
I know there's been so many studies done on
They
scent.
taking them backstage.
Yeah, I see you. You're just your picture's not up, but I can still hear you.
Okay.
Yeah,
What were you saying,
I can go either way on scent. If I'm really having a struggling day, I'll try it out. And if it's working, I'll stay with it. I'll just try to find that pattern, like I always say, you know. And when in doubt, man, throw that Berkeley grub if you're having a bad day. I think it's gonna get bit. Berkeley mullet.
Yeah, I actually met a real good friend of mine fishing, and when I met him, he was fishing the Berkeley mullet on a Jika rig.
Oh, interesting.
And he was getting bit.
Was
man.
it working? Yeah.
There's no lie to it, you know. That stinky shit gets bit.
Yeah.
No lie.
Okay. Aaron, you have to remove. You have two streams going. You got to remove one. There we go.
As I was just saying, yes, I do like the Berkeley.
Yeah.
Can you hear us, Aaron?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. We just don't have camera.
Damn. How about now?
No. Hit the little camera bottom of your screen.
I hit enter studio.
Let me see if I can. What were you saying, Brian?
I was saying, yeah, I love the Berkeley. So they definitely work on it. And
we were talking about
tides
really quick.
And with the tides, you know, if we want to get into tide fishing, there's some spots for me, you know, where low tide is not that spot that during high tide was a good spot, and low tide that spot is gone or no longer exists. So the tides, you know, you got to learn how to fish different tides. If you're in a super mega low tide, that spot that may always work for you probably may only be 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet deep of water, and maybe the fish aren't in there anymore. They've gone down deeper. And also which direction the tide's going. If it's going in or out, depends on, you know, you might have a point that you fish somewhere, and it's good on an incoming, and maybe it's good on an outgoing tide. You got to figure that out also. The tides. Yeah. You know, you fish when you can fish. You don't. Nobody has the luxury of looking at a tide chart and the moon chart and the weather and the temperature and, you know, picking an hour and going up to that. See, we just fish when we fish. So you just have to keep your eye on the conditions that are going on while you're out there and adjust to that type of fishing.
Sorry.
So Dangler said, sense for non-reaction bait for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. Like not on slow pitch and stuff, but low and slow. That's awesome. All right, guys, you have anything to add? I don't want to keep you guys all night, but awesome having you guys. Let's see how Aaron's stream's doing. Aaron. Oh, he dumped out.
Yeah, only if there's any more questions you want to go through chat, Muto.
Yeah, I'm open to I mean, answering any more questions that you might have.
You guys got any more questions? Put them in here.
What's up, Joey Basson? WD-40's that's your stunt. That guy catches fish too, man.
I've heard that works. I don't know if that's wives' tale or not, but I have heard WD-40 works.
I don't think they like any petroleum type products, right? Not who knows. WD-40 does miracles, but I don't think they would like.
I fished with a guy who fished at a local park here, and he would spray the shit out of that on his catfish bait.
Did he get
WD-40?
Just catch monster catfish.
And he did.
I bet you coach fishes that way too.
Aaron.
Yes,
Aaron.
sir.
There you
I'm
go.
back.
There we go. You're back, dude.
Hell yeah.
I thought you went to go buy some scent, dude.
I did. I'm back now.
What'd you get? Procure?
Buy some Procure.
Yeah, Procure. At least we know what to get Aaron for Christmas now.
Yeah, what about fish frosting, right?
Remember, I was telling you that story, dude, where there was like, I was fishing in the bay and there was an oil slick on top of the water. Like gasoline was everywhere. Yeah. I was like, whatever. I was fishing the oil. I was like, I gotta leave. And I was like, whatever. I just fished the oil slick and I was getting bit, dude. And it was like this is ridiculous. Like this shouldn't be a thing. There was gasoline everywhere, oil. Yeah, it was all over my bait, probably all over the braid. But I was slaying there, dude. I was slaying in the oil slick.
Alamitos Bay, I was fishing up there a couple weeks ago, and there was so much trash in the water you could barely get a cast in because it was right after a big rain. And that's
structured.
I don't know. There's an aqueduct that dumped. I mean, there was cushions floating. There was big gulps floating, all kinds of hygiene products, all kinds of. Every cast I made, I was pulling something in. But the fishing was still really good. But man, there was a lot of trash. So I don't know. Maybe the spotties like it. Something new to look at, right? The floating structure.
Yeah.
Maybe they're out there searching that trash for food,
right? I don't see any more questions unless you guys have something you want to add or
under there.
What's that?
Did you pitch an underspin under the trash?
Yes, I always start out with that. That's like my starting bait to try to see if they're biting that, and then I'll fish that till they stop.
Yeah, so that kind of applies to what you fish out there in the open water. You got a floating kelp patty, you're gonna have bait fish underneath it. So
one of my horrible experiences this year, I was fishing with Salty Dangler, and we were pre-fishing for a tournament, and I saw this aqueduct, and it had one of those big nets that catch the trash. So at the end of the aqueduct, dumping into a bay, there's this big net, and I hooked into something. It was only like 20 feet of water, but you hook into that big fish, and it's just pulling that drag. And I was like, oh my gosh, I hope this is a spotty because it feels enormous. And that thing went right into that trash net, and it got off the bait and it was gone. I lost the bait, but oh my gosh, I still to this day, it haunts me on what that fish was, because it could have been it could have been a 4-pound spotty. It could have been, who knows what it was, but it haunts me to this day. When you lose a big fish like that, those big drag pullers, when you're in an area that's known for spotty fishing. No, it had head shakes like a bass. It could either have been a big sand bass or it was a spotty. But in my mind, I'm telling myself I had a huge spotty. It was.
Did you get broken off by a Big Mac wrapper?
Does that still exist, Big Mac?
I think so.
I haven't had a Big Mac in 20 years.
How about you, Aaron? You like the Big Mac?
McDonald's?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Not a lot of. Is that the one with the third bun?
Yep.
Did you don't know what a Big Mac is? Of course, it got the third bun.
I know what a Big Mac is. I just I can't remember ordering one.
You're just acting silly, Brian.
Okay, sorry.
Everybody knows the Big Mac's got the third bun.
Yeah, but when's the last time you ate a Big Mac, Muto? When you're 17?
It's
never.
Been probably like a decade. For sure. It's been maybe longer, but I still know what it is. It's good.
I know what it is.
That's awesome. Let me see.
I'm more of a World Taco guy.
So is there any topics you guys want to hit? I don't see any more questions in there.
Yeah, that's right, Todd. It was a 5.1 pound world record spotty I lost. That's what I get, right, Nick, for fishing 6-pound line.
Hey, Nick, I have a question for Nick.
Here we go.
Do you get Corvina, Barracuda, and Bonito up in your bed?
Very, very seldomly.
Not enough to fish for them?
Not enough for us to target them, man.
I got you.
Our Corvina and Barracuda are primarily like more of the open water, more towards like the outlet, not so much the inlet bayside stuff.
I got you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
When I first started fishing the Gary Reyes swim bait 375 with the underspin, war baits underspin, in the bay there, we were catching barracuda. But they came and they left. So it's been like 2.5 years since I've seen them back so far.
Oh wow!
I was looking
Thank you.
back. I was looking back, Aaron, of my pictures from. I even shared this picture with Coach. I was looking back at my pictures of Mission Bay in 2000. Must have been like 2007, and we were catching huge corvinas and even white sea bass in Mission Bay back then. And I have not seen that size come back since that kind of.
2020 was the best year for Corvina.
2020. I remember. I mean, Corvina being, and also needlefish. Do you remember catching needlefish in Mission Bay?
Needlefish too.
I have not caught a needlefish in years. I don't know if they're just, I'm not targeting them because they're up on the top most of the time. But I used to catch them when I'm coming off the bottom and I'm burning it in for my next cast. I'd burn it in, and there'd be a corvina or there'd be a needlefish. And I'd probably catch one of those every time I went out. And now they're just
jerk
gone.
bait.
Yeah, if you're targeting,
Dude,
they were out there. They were out there all over the place. It was just like you just it's needlefish. And now it's definitely more scarce in Mission Bay, at least.
I haven't seen a needlefish in our zone up here probably since 1997.
Wow, that
wow,
long?
that's a long time.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a needlefish probably before COVID. I haven't caught one since COVID.
We
I
caught
caught a
one.
needlefish at Spanish Landing.
You did?
Yeah, needlefish, barracuda, stuff like that.
Yeah, I went fishing with a guy in like 2020, 2019. They caught one in Carlsbad Lagoon right here. It was pretty crazy.
Those little guys are tricky too. They have that long beak and they just pick at it, but eventually you'll get them.
What's a kidney jig?
Abdul, what is that? Abdul Fontana. Yeah, just send me a DM, bro. That's a new swim jig. That's a new swim jig that I dropped yesterday. I only have 4 left, so I got you, man. Just DM me. SoCal Fishing.
Slide into his DMs, man.
Yeah. What is it? Is it like a football jig?
No, it's a swim jig. Hold on, I'll grab it.
You guys that don't know Nick, I met Nick at the PCS show, and Nick paints up these. Do you just paint for war baits, or you paint your own baits, or he paints these incredible, detailed eyeballs? He matches the skirt, the colors, just like that. Yeah, and Nick's got some really nice jigs he makes.
Oh, so it's the color. The kidney's the color.
Yeah,
yeah. I was envisioning like
me too.
With like a hook on it,
like a football jig head.
Yeah,
yeah. This
So
is
the color.
This is so.
If your kidney's that color, you might be in trouble.
So, there's different colors. I mean, you can't really tell with the shitty lighting that I have, but this front color right here, kind of, it's like a purplish, reddish hair. And then that's like more to represent the blood that flows, on the outside.
A swim bait that would look perfect. MC makes a swim bait with a brown top and a red belly that would look absolutely perfect on that.
Yeah. So I actually created that jig. Many of you know 87 Charlie. He's the one that does a lot of editing on photo. So when I met him, he had just had a kidney transplant, and he opened up to me and shared his story, and it just hit home to me. I was a total stranger to him at that time. So to your point, Brian, about being out there and sharing spots and stuff like that, and meeting people and creating a camaraderie, right? Camaraderie, I should say, with fellow anglers. That's pretty much what happened. We developed a relationship. He calls me brother, I call him brother. So I designed this jig, you know, out of respects to him for just being a good man to me and, you know, changing my life in a positive way. So that's where I created what I call the bleeding kidney.
Awesome.
Nice.
Speaking of which, he asked, "What's your PB Bay Bass?" El Charlie himself, 87.
Is that for me or is that
All of
for
you.
the
Everybody.
panel? My PB Bay Bass is I didn't have a scale at the time, but
10 pounds.
I had a mat. I had a mat and it was just over 21 and a half inches.
Wow. That was
Yeah,
recent or a
That
long time ago?
22.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Did you get it in a tournament?
No, it wasn't in a tournament.
That's a heartbreaker.
Yeah. Yeah, no. There's a lot of big fish
that's a great day.
up in this zone, Brian.
I'm coming. I'll be there this weekend.
I heard I heard a lot of phenomenal stuff about San Diego spotted bay bass fishing, probably because when I was targeting spotted bay bass back in from 93 to 97, it was a 4-year span that I was out there in Diego working on the sport boats.
What year?
I just said from 93 to 97.
What,
Say that again.
which boat, Nick?
So I worked on the El Dorado with Eddie Moreno. We would come down from Long Beach and dock in San Diego for 3 months.
Okay.
And then from there I went to work on the Qualifier 105 with John Klein.
Oh, nice. Long range.
Yeah. So the farthest I've been out and longest I've been out is for 18 days straight.
Damn.
Very nice.
But
I heard that was a dentist and doctor's trip.
yeah.
Like only for rich people?
That's actually that's where I learned how to do a lot of my cooking is being out there with, you know, we hire executive chefs for the trip. You know?
Oh, interesting.
And I would
Long
just
range boats have chefs on them.
I would just sit there and watch and, you know, ask questions, man, and you know that's how I learned. But back to Spotties, I heard a lot of great stuff about San Diego in the more recent years. Let's rewind to probably I want to say 2005 to probably 2000.
My battery's about to die, guys. Great show.
2015 to 2018 area.
You gonna dip out, Aaron?
I have to. My battery's dead.
You want to plug anything before you go? Where can we find you? All right, Aaron.
I'll plug him. He's on. It's Kruger on DFA on Instagram.
Yeah, if you guys want to check out Kruger, look at him on Instagram. Right there, Kruger DFA, and check him out. Aaron, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Back in that time, I hear there was a lot of really big spotties pulled out of San Diego. I don't know because that was after I worked the sport fishing boats. But I heard a lot of great stuff. I had a friend who even created a spotted bay bass fishing magazine, and he would do a lot of editing back in the San Diego area, you know, Mission Bay, San Diego Bay, and Agua Hedionda, you know, all that area down there in San Diego. And it wasn't until probably the last 3 years, I would say, that I started driving back down there again and fishing it every now and then. But that's not my home territory.
Awesome.
PB for me, I like my biggest fish came back in earlier years of me fishing, and back then I didn't carry measuring device. I didn't carry a scale. I just looked at that thing and I was like, holy mackerel. But since we've been like now carrying measuring devices on us and scales, because now, you know, we're looking for our PBs. Now back then you were just catching spotty. Now we're looking for our PBs, we're measuring them, getting them down to that 1/4 inch on a measuring device, 18 3/4 and 3.5 0.01 pounds, my weight,
That's good.
since I've been
That's a good
keeping
one,
track
too.
of it.
That was a long time ago. You think you're gonna break it this year? Now's the
I
year.
hope, well, now that I'm fishing LA, I'm gonna break it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where I got that 3-pounder was in LA. So
I think you're gonna.
now I'm trying to get the 4-pounder in LA.
It just seems like there's a lot less. Is there just like less spotty fishing up there, or is it getting more popular?
No, I think there's so much structure. If you guys have ever fished like Newport and Alamitos, it's not like Mission Bay where we got grass. I don't know if you fish Mission Bay, Nick, but it's like we have very limited docks there. There's only like 3 areas with docks. Other than that, it's just wide open grass. I think these fish up there have so many opportunities to hide from predators. They have just structure everywhere you look. There's a house, there's a dock. There's a house, there's a dock. There's a boat, there's the docks. So I think up there they have a better chance of surviving longer.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
And do you guys have sea lions up there? I don't see that many sea lions in your areas like we have here. Here it's like they're like rats are everywhere.
very, 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 very few in our
I'm moving to Long Beach.
Bay Bass fishing zones. You have more up in the Marina Del Rey area. They kind of hang out on the docks over there in Marina Del Rey, but not Newport, not Huntington, not Alamitos. More so up in the MDR area. So
I'm not saying that's what it's killing our fish in Mission Bay, but if you go to our bait barge, which is right in the Quivarian Basin, which is our biggest dock area, at any given second, there's a half a dozen sea lions in there.
That's terrible. You got to get it.
They're like everywhere. There's like 30 at a time.
Yeah, you got to get an FX.
Muto's been attacked multiple times. One tried to cross a freeway to get to his house a long time ago.
That's funny.
Remember that somebody posted a video of a sea lion like going up the freeway.
Everyone is going up the freeway.
The freeway towards Muto's house. They're looking for you, Muto.
Yeah, we got beef. You want to know what's funny is like, I don't think sea lions eat like the spotties and sand bass. I've gone to the bait barge and there'll be seals or sea lions. I'll fish right where they're sleeping, and there's like 15 of them in the water. I drop right where they are, and I pull up huge sand bass. I've never had one eaten, and it's like I pull them up slow, and I thought, oh, I got to get this up quick. I've landed so many sand bass right, like with sea lions literally just like diving right there. They do not eat the sand bass, so I don't know if they're just like spoiled or what, but
maybe because you have to hook in that thing, and they know, I don't know. But if you get a halibut, they're going for a halibut. They'll go for your halibut.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll just randomly look over, and then there'll be a sea lion wrestling with a big halibut on the surface, killing it. And
I had one ripped off all the time. I had one ripped off of a game clip. I had a halibut on the side, and a sea lion came and tore it off.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was like tossing it around. It just went snap, pulled it off, and
but
I'll drop right there, and I've never had one
go after
eat a sand bass. They've never followed it. It's crazy. I'm like, these things, they don't like them or what.
Oh, I bet if they got hungry enough, they'll eat whatever's down there.
I think they would. Like, I don't think they're opposed to it, but I'm just surprised that they wouldn't try to eat it. It's really bizarre.
Yep. I know when I see a sea lion and I got a fish on there, I'm trying to get that thing in as quick as possible because I don't want them to kill it.
Yeah, I haven't had bad luck with sea lions eating spotties or sand bass.
Yeah, like a yellowtail, dude, all day. Like, yeah, they're gonna eat that thing. It's crazy.
That's the dinner.
These sea lions they're spoiled, dude. They don't want the good fish.
They're rotund, dude, and they're like hanging out on that bay barge.
Not even sea lions.
I think they're just eating the carcasses sometimes when they're somebody's cleaning their fish.
They want the snapper, or not the snapper. They want the vermilion, and
maybe the spotty doesn't taste good to them. They only want like a Dorado and bluefin and stuff. All the carcasses thrown back in.
Dude, they eat shit out of barracuda.
Somebody in chat says they've seen me eat sand bass and calicos.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's when I almost had one jump on my boat because I was catching barracuda, and it was like it straight up almost jumped in my kayak.
Jared says he'll eat scoping. Ooh, that's got to be a tricky business for a sea lion, I bet.
Have you seen that picture? of the
Yeah,
sea
she
lion
sent
eating the
that to me.
sculpin.
It's
Dude, that's like
sticking out
the
of its
funniest
mouth.
picture I've ever seen.
I haven't seen that.
Yes.
It's just a sea lion like choking down a sculpin, but for some reason it's like so
Like
funny.
tail first, right? So is it tail first? Its head
I
sticking
don't.
out the scope.
I think it's
I
head
remember.
first,
I
but
remember you
it's
said
like
that. Yeah,
it's so
that's
funny.
gotta be trippy.
It's funny because deep down inside that sea lion's getting stung to shit.
Oh yeah, you don't care. The sea lion tastes good. I don't know, man. Probably
I'll
have
tell
to
you
go to
what, when I
Japan or
fished
something
down
to
in
find one.
Mexico, I don't think some of those Mexican fishermen put up with that offshore because there's a lot of, when you get down into deep Mexico on the coast, you see sea lions up on the beach that are, dead. You don't see that here. So I think in Mexico, maybe
They're living my dream down in Mexico.
oh my God.
Just killing the sea lions. We
Oh,
need to send them out, man. They're just a nuisance
no.
now. Let's be honest.
The
They're
problem
trying to
is
protect them,
they
but
look so
no problem.
cute, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like it looks like a dog out there. You don't want to, the cute little animals out there.
I'll
I
do
guess.
it.
Yeah, they're cute. They're cute until they strip off your PB yellowtail.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Or
I'm
drag,
not.
drag somebody's kid into the water or something.
I heard they're starting. I mean, we're going into rabbit hole. But yeah, I hear they're shutting down like some more beaches because of it. For,
Yeah.
puppy season or whatever. And yeah,
It's crazy.
Here, man.
we don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Be here all night on that subject.
San Diegans can have that shit.
We're
We
push
got
them all
it.
up north.
We got it.
Yeah, we got it.
That's why they give you free launching.
Probably is.
You guys put your launch fees into taking care of the seals at night or something?
Hey, I would pay to launch if they got rid of the sea lions any day. Any
That's
day.
right.
What's funny is the first thing you see in San Diego, they have this bus that drives in down Shelter Island. It's full of tourists, right? It's a bus that turns into a boat. And that thing goes into Shelter Island, makes a hard right towards the jetty, and it makes a circle around the sea lions. And that's all the tourists want to see. Every time I'm fishing the bait barge, I see that thing come in, and they've got their cameras out. And some people are super happy to see the sea lion. That's like
Sailboats too.
it's from Kansas, and that's like an exotic animal.
I went down to San Diego probably about, I'd say about, I don't know, maybe a week after the PCS show, Mudo. And I fished down there with Nate Stilo.
Oh yeah.
And
We know Nate.
yeah, I went down to the very far end of one dock, and it was so dark. I didn't see the sea lion, and I'm walking on the dock, and all of a sudden I feel the dock like go like this, dude.
Right.
And I'm like, and I look out, and I'm like, there ain't no fucking boat driving by right now. And I look down, and as soon as I look down,
It scares the hell out of you.
dude, I freaking boned the hell out, dude.
I learned that.
Yeah,
quick.
those
I'm
things are
not
no joke.
in my kayak or my boat. I'm not so cautious because I'm in my boat, right? But I've been out in my kayak a few times where that thing will pop up next to you, and it's
Right
like,
next
whoa,
to you,
that's
yeah.
a big animal, They startle you, yeah. Or you
Yeah.
see that big. Sometimes they're just underneath you. And you see that big shadow go by right underneath you.
Yeah.
They don't mess around, man. Budo, what about you? What's your PB spotty?
Yeah. What is your PB spotty,
Oh, it's
Muto?
not big. It's like 16 3/4, I think.
Well, don't let him play you down. He had season 1, was it? Spotty Bowl. You had biggest spotty, right? Here he comes. Where's his
Heaviest.
trophy?
I think I was
Heaviest?
looking for my plaque.
Well, I could have sworn you beat Salty Dangler like at the last minute by like a 1/4 inch or something like that. Heaviest spotty. There he is.
No,
What was that thing?
Salty got the longest. I was in the lead for like all year, and then I went
he
on
beat
vacation.
you?
I went on vacation in Mulligan, my last one, and sure
Oh,
enough,
no.
there it is. It was like
He snuck
popped
in
up
and
in
took
the-
it from you.
in the record thing. I was like, "This son of a bitch."
That
Yeah.
happens. That'll happen.
It-
But for some weird reason, Nick, I have longest spotty up in LA right now. I think I do. Yeah, in the tournament series up there, and it's only 16.75. I cannot believe in these. I think we're in our 4th round that hasn't been beat. That's been the biggest in the tournament series. That's the longest spotty caught. Is
Do they go
16.75.
by zone, like where you caught it, or is
No,
it
it's
just
just it rotates bay to bay. It rotates Newport to Alamitos back and forth each round, and that's been the biggest spotty caught up there. And in San Diego, is it 17. I think it's 17 by Jig Jig. That's a person we should add on tonight too. Is Jig Jig Pow? I think he's got longest spotty down here. I think.
Yeah. It was Aaron. Aaron put this together. He wanted to have this show, but he wanted to have like 6 people on. I was like, dude, let's just like start with 3 and see how it works.
I'd like to have all of our clubs on at once. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it'd be chaos.
Whole rooms full of people yelling.
Yeah, we go to one of the events.
So you're in SD too, Brian?
What's that?
You're in SD, Diego?
He's in the country.
I live in San Diego, but I live inland. I live about 45 minutes from the bay.
Okay, so more towards like Escondido or?
Yeah, if you know where the Wild Animal Park is, there's a town called Ramona near there. That's where I live.
Okay.
Way out in the middle of nowhere, as Muto calls it.
Yeah, Mudo, check this out, dude. This is the little CalStar BT 120. You see it?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Dang.
Ooh,
That's a
don't
slow
do
pitch
that.
rod, dude.
Woo. Wow.
That's the 8. What is that? Did it break?
Oh, no, I let
okay.
it go and it hit my hit my
scared me.
little paint thing. Yeah, it's only
That's the 4-footer.
Yeah.
Wow,
That's awesome, dude. And it's what they do, just cut like the end. Is it just like the tip of it sort of thing, or is it custom made?
Yeah, so the first 4.5 feet
That's awesome, man.
from the tip measured down.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I just got this in the mail. So this is my first just came today.
You got the Taipan?
Yeah,
Nice.
I got the Taipan Elite Series, just came in the mail. They haven't fished it yet, but it feels pretty sweet.
Yeah, man, those Taipan rods are no joke, dude.
It's I wanted a specific drop you're gonna hate me, Nick, but drop shot rod for largemouth for tournaments coming up. So I bought their drop shot rod. Because I don't have a drop shot rod.
Kevin was telling me about the drop shot rod. He said it was be a good jig rod. So
I'm gonna try it for everything. But that's what he sells it as, is their drop shot rod. So I'll update to come on how good that thing is. I bet it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, those rods, man. After not only hearing about like the type of graphite that the special type of graphite that he used for the Warbait series, but man, being at the show and watching that dude freaking pull
that rod.
Can I describe that? So
yeah,
I don't know whose idea it was, Simon's or somebody. Simon took one of his Taipan rods, and I'm not sure what blanket
it was the guy from Tackle Express. Kevin told this guy at Tackle Express, like the guy at Tackle Express, he didn't believe. He saw a video of Simon picking up like 25-pound weights with it and putting it like in the boat, and he was like, "No, that ain't real." And apparently they were like, "No, we got the rod there," so he wanted to go pull on it.
Yeah, and this guy was like 6'3", 240 pounds. He wasn't a small guy. And Simon grabs the end of the rod, and he's trying to hold on to it, and this 6 foot 200 something pound dude grabs it midway up and pulls everything he got. I mean, his face was red, his veins were bulging. He had everything he had in this thing, and the whole show came to a standstill, and everybody's circled around this in awe of this rod being, it looked like a bass rod, being everything put into it, and it wasn't even a challenge for the thing.
Yeah, and it was a bass, and that's a bass rod. So
yeah, it wasn't a tuna rod; it was a bass rod.
That was the part that was just like,
that was his swim bait rod.
Yeah,
it was pretty, and honestly that's what sold me on. Right when I saw that, I'm like, I gotta have some of those rods.
You can't deny that.
Probably one of the first of many that I'll buy from.
They're insane, dude. They're insane, and the sensitivity on that 7.2M, it's crazy, man.
Oh yeah, that's what that is. Yeah. I can't wait to fish it. I'm gonna fish it like crazy.
Yeah,
they're good. He made me some custom slow pitch rods, and they're pretty badass.
What size are they?
One's like 100 gram, and then he made like a one for like he made me a rail rod slow pitch rod that's like acid wrapped, and for those big tuna. I'm taking it out tomorrow, so I'm pretty excited.
What rod am I talking about? I'm talking about this Taipan Elite Series, and on this web page, it's labeled the drop shot rod that won the U.S. Opens, the one that I ordered. I was looking specifically for a largemouth drop shot rod. So this is what I bought. But you know, I'll use it for spotties. I'll use it for everything. But that's primarily why I bought it for largemouth.
Yeah, that's sick, man. Those rods are legit. 100%.
Well, we got any more questions here, Muto? I mean, man, we're
I think that's it, man. We're 2 hours in.
2 hours.
I got shit to do, man.
Oh no, you got just say it. You got to get to bed.
I got to go to bed. Awesome. Well, yeah, we'll wrap it up. I mean, I appreciate you guys coming on. Nick, where can we find you?
SoCal Fishing Squad.
And what you selling? So do you sell the baits direct, or how does that work?
Yeah, I do sell baits direct. However, 2023 developed a partnership with Afrin from War Baits.
Nice.
So be on the lookout. We got some stuff coming up.
Awesome. You're doing the swim jigs, right? That's like your thing.
Yeah. So swim jigs, custom painted, custom skirted. There we go.
They're beautiful, guys. I've seen them. They're beautiful.
Oops, I was trying to.
They're right there.
There we go. Yeah.
There. Let me see.
Legit. And what do we do? Just contact you on Instagram? Is that the best way?
You could just DM me. If it says that you can't DM me for some reason, because I don't accept, I think a couple people tried DMing me and it said I didn't accept messages from people that I didn't follow or something like that. Just comment on whatever last post that I made.
Okay.
And I'll follow you, and this way we could communicate. But yeah, just shoot me a DM. Most of the stuff that I drop, again, is all half-ounce stuff. But I do custom orders too. I just did some. You could switch that screen back. Oh, there it is, still there. This is like a custom, like a grunion smelt type colorway.
Oh yeah.
It's got a lot of pearl, a lot of color shift. But that was a custom order neck breaker that somebody wanted. So I'll do this custom stuff for people every now and then. But it takes a lot of time. So for the most part, just kind of focusing on doing limited drops. Most of the time I'll do 12 pieces at a time. And whoever gets them, gets them.
Awesome, guys. So check it out. SoCal Fishing Squad. Get your custom swim baits. How about you, Brian? Where can we find you?
Most of these guys know me from Wednesday nights with Roman Castro on Fishy Hour. So if you guys are looking for a show where you want to hear somebody talk about bay fishing or San Diego fishing, come check me out on YouTube on Fishy Hour, Wednesday night, 7 p.m. live. And that is Fishy Hour, and that's bay fishing with Roman and Brian. And then I am also known on Brian Likes to Fish on Instagram. So if you have any questions about bass fishing or bay bass fishing, hit me up. I'm on Instagram. I'm fishing every single weekend. So if you guys are out of the bay too and you see me out there in the big white Cool Baits boat, give me a wave. I'll come on over, say hi. What's up?
Awesome. Well, yeah, guys, thanks for joining. It was cool. All you guys know, we're in tackle stores, submission fishing, get your slow death jigs. I think we're in like 10 or 11 tackle stores now. It's like every week we kind of pick one up. So we're in
congratulations.
Pacific Coast Highway or Pacific Coast Bait and Tackle in Oceanside. So we got a North County one going. It's pretty cool. And go up to Fishing Reps. You can see the check out his website, and you can find the dealer. Because a lot of people are asking me, and I'm like, there's so many dealers now. We're in, just put in your zip code, and you guys can find where we are and get you some jigs online, and find us on Instagram, find us on YouTube. All the usual places. If you're here, obviously, But yeah, it's great talking with you guys, and yeah, we'll definitely have to do it again. I think if everybody liked it. We'll do another one and maybe rotate some guests or do different shows. So this was the first one and kind of a test run, but I think it was awesome. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I had a great time too. Thanks, Muto.
Had some good dialogue and a lot of good questions, a lot of good feedback.
Yeah,
but
almost three different opinions on every answer too, which was nice.
Yeah. But like Brian said, if anybody has questions, hit us up, DM us. We're available to share knowledge and do the best we can to lead you in the right direction.
Yeah.
So
right.
Thanks for
having us.
You guys
are watching. Aaron, thanks for coming on. If you're still watching the show, check him out on Instagram. He's a cool dude to fish with, and he's pretty open about his knowledge too. Like he likes to share with you guys. So he might not want you to have the stoke on the fish, but he'll definitely take you out and show you the spots.
Just don't bring your scent.
Don't bring your scents. I appreciate you, Aaron. I love having the different opinions, guys. That's what's cool. If we all agree to be a boring ass show, so I like having the different perspectives on stuff for sure.
Get out there, guys, and snag some grass, catch some bass.
All right. Till next time. Oos.
Oos.
Later. Oos.